So, welcome, gentlemen, in this Nebosh IGC free training course. So, today we will discuss the same unit IG1 and element number 1, why we should manage workplace health and safety. And today it's our lecture number 3. And the title of today's lecture is Health and Safety Law, the legal reasons for managing health and safety. Health and safety law, the legal reason for managing health and safety. In this lecture, I will explain the law, the legal reason for managing health and safety. These concepts relates to a set of rules and regulations known as health and safety law. These laws are made to ensure that people are protected and kept safe from harm in different places such as schools, workplaces, and public areas. To put it simple, health and safety law is the legal basis or the reason why we have rules in place to manage and maintain people's health and safety. It's like having a set of guidelines to follow to make sure everyone stays safe and healthy. So here comes the learning objective for today's lecture number 3. Number 1, I will understand the importance of managing workplace health and safety and the legal and ethical reasons behind it. Number 2, identify the regulations and standards set by organizations like the International Labour Organizations and how they contribute to the workplace safety. Number 3 is describe the obligations that employers must fulfill to achieve a safe and healthy workplace as outlined in Article 16 of C-155 and Article 10 of R-164. We will discuss in detail the Convention 155 and Recommendation R-164 in coming slides. Number 4, learning objective is describe the obligations that employees must fulfill to achieve a safe and healthy workplace as outlined in Article 19 of C-155 and Article 10 of R-164. Number 5 objective for today's lecture is recognize the rights of the workers, including the right to be provided with adequate information on occupational safety and health measures taken by the employer. Number 6, learning objective is define the role of the enforcement agencies. Number 7, understand the consequences of non-compliance. Obviously, when some law is broken apart, there are some compliance consequences. We will discuss in detail in this segment. Number 8, learning objective is explore and familiarize yourself with other international standards. So the main legal laws are ILO C-155 and R-164, but there are other standards are also available to make health and safety manageable in your workplaces. We will discuss in detail in this learning objective number 8. Then comes the 9, gather relevant sources of information. I will explain you from where you can gather different kinds of health and safety information, which source you have to look after. Now, coming on to the first objective. It is really important to take care of health and safety at work. There are laws and ethical reasons that tell us why we should do this. Laws are rules that we have to follow, and they help keep everyone safe and healthy. Ethical reasons are about doing the right thing and being fair to others. So, when we manage workplace health and safety, we make sure that everyone is protected and that we are doing the right thing. It is like wearing a seatbelt in a car to keep us safe or following the rules of a game to play fair. The International Labour Organization ILO is a key player in the area of international legal standards in health and safety. It is an agency of the United Nations, and most countries are members of the ILO. The ILO sets international legal standards through its conventions and recommendations, which form the basis for adopting basic minimum health and safety standards in member countries. It is a group that make rules and guidelines to keep workers safe at their jobs. They set up regulations and standards that companies and countries should follow to make sure workplaces are safe. These rules help protect workers from accidents or dangerous conditions. For example, they might say that workers need to wear protective gear like helmet or gloves, or that companies must have safety procedure in place to prevent accidents. Following these rules help make sure that people can work in a safe environment and reduce the chances of getting hurt. Now, I will explain you the obligation, the responsibilities of the employers in regard to Article 16 of C-155, which is called the Convention 155 and was issued in 1981. And the supporting document, that is Article 10 of R 164. R means the recommendation 164, the another ILO occupational health and safety law. There are two types of the law of ILO, conventions and recommendations. So they are given some specific numbers like C-155 and R-164. So first we discuss the Article 16 of C-155 regarding the obligations of the employers. So employers have responsibility to make sure that the places where people work, the machines and tools they use, and the tasks they perform are not dangerous and do not pose any risk to their health. This means taking necessary steps to create a safe working environment and providing the right equipment and procedures to keep everyone safe and healthy. It's like when a teacher sets up a classroom with desks in orders and ensure there are no sharp objects or hazards around that could harm the students. Employers to ensure that the chemical, physical, and biological substances and agents under their control are without risk to health. This means that employers must identify and assess the hazards associated with the substances and agents used in their workplaces and take measures to eliminate or control those hazards. Employers have an obligation to provide adequate protective clothing and protective equipment to prevent the risks of accidents or adverse effects on health. This means that employers must assess the hazards present in the workplace and identify situations where the use of protective clothing and equipment is necessary to protect employees from potential harm. Adequate protective clothing refers to the garments or attires that are designed to protect the wearer from specific workplace hazards such as chemical splashes, heat, or physical injuries. This may include items such as gloves, safety goggles, helmets, high visibility vests, or specialized clothing for specific tasks. Protective equipment, on the other hand, refers to the devices or equipment that are used to protect employees from potential hazards. This can include items such as respirators, ear protection, safety harnesses, or safety guards on machinery. Employers are responsible for providing these protective measures free of charge to their employees. They must ensure that the protective clothing and equipment are suitable for the specific hazards present in the workplace and that they are properly maintained and replaced with necessary. According to the R-164, the Article 10 of Recommendation 164, some obligations are on the employers, which are as provide safe workplaces and work equipment that do not pose a risk to health. Employers are responsible to provide appropriate instructions and training to employees, provide necessary supervisions to ensure safety. Employers are responsible to establish health and safety arrangements that are suitable for the size and nature of the undertaking, that means the workplace or the organization. Number 4, provide personal protective clothing and equipment free of charge. Employers are responsible to ensure that the hours of the work do not adversely affect employees' safety and health. Employers to take measures to eliminate extreme physical and mental fatigue. Stay up to date with knowledge to comply with the above obligations. So these are the responsibilities of the employers as per Article 16 of C155 and Article 10 of Recommendation R164. Article 19 of C155 or Convention 155 states that all workers and their representatives have a duty to cooperate with their employer in order to fulfill their safety obligations. This means that workers are expected to actively participate and collaborate with their employers in matters related to occupational safety and health. By cooperating with their employers, workers can contribute to creating and maintaining a safe working environment. This cooperation may involve following safety instructions and procedures. Workers should comply with the safety instructions and procedures provided by their employer. This includes using safety equipment correctly and adhering to established safety protocols. Reporting hazards and accidents. Workers have a responsibility to report any hazardous situations or conditions that they come across in the workplace. This includes reporting any work-related accidents or incidents that may have occurred. Taking care of their own safety and the safety of others, workers should take reasonable care to ensure their own safety and the safety of their colleagues. This includes following safety guidelines, using protective equipment, and being mindful of the potential risks. And providing feedback and suggestions. Workers can contribute to improving safety by providing feedbacks and suggestions to their employers. So this can help identify potential hazards and proposes measures to mitigate them. By actively cooperating with their employer, workers can play a crucial role in maintaining a safe and healthy work environments for themselves and their colleagues. R164 has more detail on general duty outlined in Article 19 of C155. Specifically, R164 expands on the responsibilities and obligations of the workers in fulfilling their safety obligations. Here are the details provided in R164. The workers should take reasonable care of their own safety and the safety of others who might be affected by their actions or inactions. The worker should comply with safety instructions and procedures provided by the employer. They should use all safety equipment properly and refrain from tampering with it. They should report any situation that they believe could be a hazard and that they are unable to correct themselves. They should report any work-related accidents or ill health immediately. These additional details in R164 further clarify the specific actions and behaviors expected from the workers in fulfilling their safety obligations. By following these guidelines, workers can actively contribute to maintaining a safe and healthy workplace. Note, I will explain about the rights of the workers. As we have discussed in previous slides, that workers have roles and responsibilities, but now they have rights as well. So what are those rights? These sets of rules called the conventions The set of rules called the convention and recommendations have been created to make sure workers are treated fairly and safely. These rules give workers certain rights and make them responsible for certain duties. One important right that workers have is the right to be in a safe workplace. This means that their employer should make sure the place where they work is not dangerous and wouldn't harm their health. But there are also other rights that workers have according to the Article 19 of C-155, for example. Workers have the right to be given enough information about what their employer is doing to make the workplace safe. It's like having all the important information about safety procedures. Workers have the right to receive training about how to stay safe and healthy while doing their job. This is like learning how to ride a bicycle safely before going on a big bike ride. Workers have the right to be asked for their opinion by their employers when it comes to things that can affect their safety and health at work. It's like being asked your thoughts about what you think should be added to a playground to make it safer. If a worker feels that their workplace is immediately and seriously dangerous to their life or health, they have the right to leave the place and not be forced to go back until it becomes safe. It's like leaving a roller coaster if you see that it's not working properly and could cause harm. So basically, these rules say that workers should be informed, trained, and allowed to have a say about their safety at work. They also have the right to leave a dangerous place and not go back until it's safe. Now, I will explain you the enforcement agency's role in implementing health and safety laws. Enforcement agencies are responsible for enforcing health and safety laws in each country or regions. They are effectively the health and safety police force and are tasked with ensuring that employers comply with the law. These agencies often provide advice, investigate workplaces, accidents, take formal enforcement actions to force employers to comply with the law and start criminal proceedings against persons or organizations they believe have committed offenses. While there is no harmonized global standard for the enforcement of health and safety law, there are some general principles that normally apply. Each country or region has one or more enforcement agencies responsible for enforcing health and safety law. In some circumstances, the agency may actually be or may enlist the help of the national or regional police. In many countries, there is a group of people called the fire authorities who make sure that everyone follows the rules to keep safe from fires. They have the job of making sure that buildings and workplaces are safe and that people are following the laws about fire safety. Sometimes in some countries, insurance companies also help with making sure things are safe. They do this by checking buildings and workplaces regularly to make sure they meet certain standards. If they find any problems, they can tell the owners to fix them. The insurance company can also ask for more money for insurance or even say no to giving insurance unless the safety standards are made better. This is a way to encourage people to keep things safe from fires. So basically, the fire authority and insurance companies work together to make sure that there are rules to prevent fires and that people follow them. Understanding the consequences of non-compliance. So here comes, I will explain you what the consequences the organizations or the employers have to face when they do not follow the health and safety laws. The consequences of non-compliance with health and safety legal responsibilities can vary depending on the jurisdictions. However, in general, a breach of health and safety legislation is usually considered a criminal offense. Some of the potential consequences of non-compliance include formal enforcement action. An enforcement agency may require an employer to make improvements within the workplace within a given time period or to stop carrying out high-risk activities until improvements are made. Failure to comply with formal enforcement action is usually considered an offense in itself. Prosecution of the organization in criminal courts. If an organization is successfully prosecuted, it may face punishments in the form of fines. Prosecutions of individuals, directors, managers, and workers may also face prosecutions if they are found to have contributed to non-compliance. Successful prosecutions of the individual may result in fines and imprisonment. In addition to the legal prosecutions in criminal law, there is the issue of providing compensation to the workers and individuals who sustain injuries from workplace accidents. The approach may differ depending on the specific region or country. Here are the possible avenues for the workers. Pursuing a legal recourse against their employer by means of civil legal system. They would need to establish evidence that their employer was negligent and thus responsible for their injury. Seeking compensation from national or regional compensation schemes where there is no obligation to prove negligence or assign blame via legal proceeding. No, we will discuss different other international standards as we have previously talked about two main laws of health and safety, international laws of International Labour Organization, that is Convention C-155 and Recommendation R-164. But there are other standards as well, although these standards are not basically laws, but they help organizations to improve their health and safety management. The International Organization for Standardization is the largest global developer of management standards. ISO has created ISO 9001, which is the standard for quality management, and ISO 14001, which is the standard for environmental management. While these standards are not legally binding, they have been widely adopted by numerous companies worldwide as they embody effective management practices. As a result, a unified approach to handling quality and environmental issues has been established. There exists a widely accepted international standard for managing health and safety. The ISO standard, ISO 45001 Occupational Health and Safety Management System, is harmonized with other management system standards like ISO 9001 and ISO 14001. Violating health and safety regulation can result in criminal prosecutions. What are the other sources of information where you can consult to gain health and safety information? Sources of information on national health and safety standards can be obtained from the relevant national regulatory bodies. These regulatory bodies publish guidance documents that provide information on the legal standards required. Many of these regulatory bodies have websites that are valuable source of information. Some examples of the regulatory bodies and their websites include Health and Safety Executive HSE in the UK at www.hsc.gov.uk. Number two source of information is Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, in the US at www.osha.gov. Number three, the main source of information, European Agency for Safety and Health at Work, EU, www.osha.europe.eu. Number four is the source of information, that is WorkSafe in Western Australia at www.commerce.wa.gov.au WorkSafe. So these are few sources of information which you can consult to gain updated knowledge of health and safety. But apart from these sources, there are many other sources available on internet which you can use to explore your problems in your areas, or you can even consult with your country health and safety laws and the country enforcement agency health and safety if exist in your region or country. In addition to these sources, there are also recognized international standards that organizations can conform to, such as ISO 12001, safety of machinery. Compliance with these recognized ISO international standards demonstrates safety, and national legislations often refers to them. So, gentlemen, here comes the end of lecture number 2, briefing. Now, we will make a short exercise. In the next video, you will see that exercise, and I hope you are ready for that and you will make your knowledge refresh. Thank you very much for your valuable participation for today's lecture number 3. And I hope you have enjoyed this learning activity and you will remain the part of this free training programs and will gain benefit when you decide to take Nebosh exams, and it will help you a lot. I repeat and reiterate that if anyone has any question about any concept which he wants me to explain again, kindly put his question into the comments box. I will answer all the questions briefly. Even if someone wants to contact me directly through my WhatsApp group, he can call me, contact me, or send me message. I will try my best to help him all the way which I can do. My main mission is to promote health and safety knowledge throughout the world. Stay safe. Thank you very much. In the third part, we will also have a small assignment as well. So be ready for that as well. Thank you and take care. So learners, welcome in the second segment of today's training of Nebosh IGC. In the previous lecture, I have explained you the legal reasons for managing health and safety in detail. Now we will check and refresh our knowledge with these turn cards. Here is a statement and then the definition of that statement when I will turn the card. So first card is, what is formal enforcement action? Just think in your mind few seconds, then I will turn the card and you will see the response. So here comes the response of this statement. The action taken by an enforcement agency to force an employer to comply with the law. Next card is, what is personal protective equipment? Just think in your mind and try to explain these things in your mind. And then I will turn the card and you will see the response. So equipment designed to protect workers from hazards that may cause injury or illness is a personal protective equipment. Coming on to the next card, regulating health and safety. What is regulating health and safety? Just think in your mind and frame the answer. I will turn the card and you will see the response. The process of enforcing laws and regulations related to workplace health and safety. The next card, what are employer responsibilities? We have in detail discussed about the employer's responsibility in our previous lectures. Just recall your memory and think over it. What are the employer's responsibilities? Okay, now I turn the card and you will see the response. The obligations placed on employer to ensure that workplace, machinery, equipment, and processes under their control are safe and without risk to health. Coming on to the next card, what are International Labour Organization, ILO? I have briefly explained you about ILO. Just rethink all the briefing which I have given to you in the previous lecture, and it will come in your mind. Then I will turn the card. Okay. So here, an agency of the United Nations that sets international legal standards for workplace health and safety. Now I turn the next card. What is Occupational Safety and Health Convention? As I briefly explained you in the previous lecture about the conventions and recommendations, the two main laws of ILO regarding health and safety. Here he's asking about what is Occupational Health and Safety Convention, the main law. So I turn the card and you will see the response. A convention that sets out general duties for employers and workers to ensure that workplaces are safe and pose no risk to health. Coming on to the next card, what is workplace health and safety? As you all know from previous 2-3 lectures, we are discussing about the health and safety. Now I will turn the card and you will see the response. The measures taken to ensure the safety and well-being of the employees in the workplace is called workplace health and safety. Coming on to the next card, workers' rights. As I have briefly explained you in the previous lectures about the worker rights, just recall your memory and try to think over that. What are the workers' rights? Okay, now I turn the card and you will see the response. The rights of the workers to be provided with adequate information on actions taken to ensure occupational safety and health, receive necessary training, be consulted on matters of the occupational safety and health, and leave a workplace that presents an imminent and serious danger to their life or health. So there are the workers' rights which he has with his employer. Coming on to the next card, what are the consequences of non-compliance? As we are talking about the health and safety law, so we briefly explained that there are some certain consequences if a law is not implemented or law is violated in any workplace. Then what would be the consequences? Just recall your memory and think over that, what I have explained you in the previous lecture. Okay, now I turn the card and you see the response. The penalties that an employer may face for failing to comply with health and safety legislations, including formal enforcement actions and criminal prosecutions. So here are the consequences if someone does not obey the health and safety law. The next card is about what is ISO 45001. So in the previous lecture, I have explained you that there are some other their standards other than the ILO laws, convention, and recommendations. There are other standards which are globally recognized. Among those, the most popular is International Organization for Standardizations 45001 Occupational Health and Safety Management Standard. So what is that? I will turn the card, you will see. An internationally recognized standard for health and safety management. Next card is about civil law. So what comes when you think about the civil law? Because there are two types of the law. One is criminal law and another is civil law. So criminal law is basically gives very severe punishment if someone violates that law. That is considered, the crime is considered against the state. But in civil law, when someone violates the civil law, some less punishment is given to the victim, like maybe some compensation, fines, etc. So there is no prison in this civil law, only compensation may be given or some fines may be done to the people who violate. So now I turn the card and you will see what is civil law. The branch of the law concerned with the right of the individual. Individuals, for example, compensating people for harm that is done to them through no fault of their own. Come to the next card. Legal standards. What are legal standards? We have briefly explained in the previous lecture about the legal standards. Just recall your memory and think over it. You will find the knowledge in your mind. So I will wait 2-3 seconds, then I will turn the card. the minimum requirements set by the national and international laws that organization must meet to ensure workplace health and safety. So these are the legal standards. I hope this exercise have been very useful for you and you have refreshed your knowledge. Thank you.